here in Cincinnati. I came to check out my man Stash. We took courses back in the day, and he started off finding multifamily like he was grinding. He came from LA, well, California, start cold calling everybody. That's how we met. Now he's sold over $2 billion in real estate, and we're gonna check out his brokerage Capstone. Let's go check it out. Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey,
what's
Mike,
going
how
on,
are you?
Stash?
Good to
how
see
you
you.
doing, man?
Thanks
so
for coming.
I got my crew here, man. They're gonna come check us out.
Come on in.
See what we got, man.
Check it out.
So Stash, like you've been in the game for quite some time now. I remember when we first met. Like, how much have you sold in your career now?
Yeah, so my team and I, we've probably done about $2 billion in sales.
$2 billion in sales.
Yeah.
Like, what do you? First of all, what are you selling, and how did you get there?
Yeah, so we specialize in multifamily investment properties. You know, that's how you and I first met.
That's right.
Cold called you like a cold call all my friends.
You were on, like, man, that was so crazy because, like, I knew you were like the up and coming guy, man. Because everybody, like, Stash just popped into town. The next thing you know, everybody knows him because he's like cold calling everybody.
Yeah, I was relentless. You kind of have to be as a broker because it's like, especially breaking into a new market like I was doing. Like, I didn't know anybody. I had no contacts, no connections, and just brute force said, this is what I'm gonna do.
Wait a minute, you didn't know anybody.
No.
You came to Cincinnati, right?
Yeah,
Where'd you come from?
So I was in Southern California at the time,
right,
and it was,
right.
2000. I got here in 2011, and things still hadn't unfrozen yet. And I'd done some syndication deals with partners there in Southern California, and
right.
Moderately successful. And I was going to try and replicate that same thing here. Came here for a deal, had it under contract, and then it just kind of blew up. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I just picked up the phone and started cold calling again. So
man, that was the grind. Like, you were just doing the thing because everybody was so used to just doing some basic marketing, but like the cold calling was the thing. You just went back to the old school.
Yeah.
And then crushed it.
Yeah. And
now you did over $2 billion in sales.
Yeah, I mean, the harder you work, the luckier you get. I've got a sign over there that says that, and that's what I found it to be true. It's like Fridays at 4 o'clock, I've gotten some of the best leads or just opportunities, and it's just like, man, it's awesome. Whereas everybody else is out.
Now you only sell multifamilies?
So we specialize in multifamily investment properties and development sites for multifamily.
Oh, so you're getting in developments now, or you've been doing development?
Yeah, so we sold a dead shopping center over in, on the east side of town. And that was our first like entree into development sites. And, I really liked that aspect of it. I saw it as an avenue to get into bigger, better projects. And so, we sold that site, and now they're putting 360 Class A apartments on it. And, as long as
What, a retail? It was a retail center?
Yeah, it was a dead shopping center.
So they tore it down and then they build up, or are they going to build out on the outlots?
No, they tore it down. And yeah, they're putting it was zoned for 250 units, and my client said, hey, I think I can get more on it. And so he went back and put 360 on it. And it's leasing up, and they're getting 25% more in their rents than they initially pro forma'd.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what's the price range of deals that you sell? Like, are you selling $300,000 houses, or are you selling $5 million? What, or buildings? What?
I mean, I remember when I first got started, it was whatever I could get my hands on.
Right.
Like, I had a 10 unit for $100,000, and I was like, man, this is great. But really, I've got a team of guys I work with, and, there's a lot of work that goes into each opportunity. So really the minimum deal size that we're going to focus on is like, we look at fee or transaction value, and then some combination of the two. So,
so hold on. What are you talking about, fee and transaction value? What does that mean?
So, the beauty of brokerage is that nobody tells you what to do, but nobody tells you what to do. So you have to figure out, what you're going to get paid on each deal.
Right.
And so we have a minimum like brokerage commission that we aspire for on deals. And usually we're pretty firm about that. And we've turned deals away because they're like, no, I don't want to pay you that.
So are you like, even though you're doing commercial, are you charging like a realtor? Because like, it's different. Like when you're selling residential and you work for a brokerage, that's a realtor.
Yeah.
But when you kind of get into commercial, nobody says realtor anymore. Like, why is that?
No, I think it has a negative connotation, and when you think of it, I don't think necessarily deserved, but you know, if you talk to a residential agent and they're trying to do a commercial deal, they don't really understand what goes into it. Like oftentimes they're more concerned about what their commission is up front before they even like know what the deal is. And it's like, there are many steps to get to and through before we're gonna talk about a fee. So.
And so that which led me, made me think about it when you talk about fees. So do you guys, because it's a bigger number, so if you're charging a higher commission, they're not profiting as much. Like in California, they only charge 2%. Are brokers still charging 6% here for commercial deals?
We have some land sites where, you know, it is a 6% fee, but typically you're not going to get 6% on a $10 million deal.
No? No?
I wish, but no, I don't see that happening. Unless you just have an escalator in your fee agreement that says, hey, if we knock it out of the park, then we get a higher percentage.
Oh, so let's
both
say,
sides win.
So let's say like, all right, I'm gonna charge you 3 or 4%.
Yeah.
And if you hit this benchmark of 5 million, you stay there. But if you sell over that,
yeah, if you sell it for 7, you get 10% of the upside as a for instance.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So.
A lot of people, I don't think a lot of people think about it like that.
Well, it's great in an increasing market. The market that we're in right now, it's a little choppy.
Well, now okay, so you bringing that, like that's the big elephant in the room. What are rates doing to the market now?
So rates are causing prices to decrease, you know, because there's a relationship.
Really? Do you really think that? Like I get it. Like we learned this at CCI. It was one of the first things we learned. When interest rates increase, values decrease. When interest rates decrease, values increase, right? Did I say that right? Did I get it mixed up?
Yeah, it's an inverse relationship.
But with the interest rates increasing, people been holding on to pricing, haven't they?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's a function of like the debt markets, because the agencies, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they have, you know, they'll issue 10-year debt, right? So it's like, if you're a long-term holder, you don't really care what the prices are. You don't really care as long as you have a fixed rate, that is. You don't care if rates are going up or down, because you have a consistent monthly payment for 10 years or 12 years. But if you bought a property with a variable interest rate, well, if you bought it with a 3% rate and it is adjusted up to 6 or even 9%, that means that your cash flow has gotten squeezed, and maybe you don't even have any more cash flow. Or maybe you're having to do a capital call back to your investors to be like, hey guys, we've got to fund this, or I'm going to give the keys back to the bank, and then all that equity just evaporates. I had my analysts do an analysis of the spread between seller expectations and then our optimistic price. And we're on average about 20% off. We're seeing about an 18-point spread between what they want and where we think we can realistically sell it. And it's purely a factor of interest rates.
Man, talking about interest rates and spread makes me hungry. Man, why don't we chop it up and grab something to eat and then talk about some more, man?
Yeah, it sounds great.
All right, man, let's do it.
I want one of these Hawaiians, please. Yeah. Yeah, let's go. Low tables.
Yeah, you know what? You can be right. If you had to do it all over again, would you do the brokerage, or would you focus more on investing in real estate and buying? Or what would you do differently, I guess?
I'd probably invest more in deals coming up, and you know, just try and really identify those groups that are going to be growing, and then try and grow with them. Kind of like what we've done with you and our partners.
I mean, now what do you say? It's kind of crazy, man, because you know, brokers, because I experienced it as a realtor, but they try to hate on the realtors, like they try to cut you out of the deal at times. Like, have you experienced that?
Well, so I had a rude awakening when I first got started. I had been talking to the largest owner here in town, and I saw somebody else's listing, and I sent it to him. And he's like, hey, I appreciate you thinking of me for this, but I don't need you sending me other people's deals because I get them already. And what I've discovered in my own brokerage practice is that the buy side broker just tends to be another link in the chain of playing telephone versus actually adding a ton of value. I'm not saying that they don't, but in my experience, a buyer broker is just getting in the way. So,
Well, how do you feel? It's like, I've met investors that like try to cut the broker out. Like, the broker brings a deal, and then they're like, man, I don't want to pay you because like you didn't list it, but it was like an off-market listing.
yeah.
And you knew it. Like, but I'm tripping. Like, why wouldn't you pay him? Why wouldn't he pay you? Because you brought him $1 million deal.
Yeah.
That literally he'll net $1 million.
Yeah.
And then all they need is 6%. All you got to pay him is 60 grand, and you can make $1 million. Like, why wouldn't you pay him?
It's really short-sighted, and I think it's an inexperienced way of doing things. I recently had an interaction with a group that I would have never expected this to do. I'm a cards up kind of guy, soft sell. Like, if you don't want to buy it, I don't want you to buy it, because at the first sign of distress, you're going to back out, and it's going to be everybody's wasted time. So I said, hey, I'm working with this group, and I heard from my buyer that they went around and they went directly to him. And so I was so upset. I was so mad. And I sat on it for about a month, and then, we had a conversation. I was like, hey, I know what you did. And, he was embarrassed and maybe ashamed. And, you have to think, I wish I would have thought more on the long term.
Shame, man. Those fighting words, man. Pop, pop.
I wish I would have thought more on the long term when I was getting started, and he obviously didn't. Like, I've been working with this group for 10 years.
Man, that's crazy, man.
So,
no, I just saying that happens, man. So, regardless of what you do, always be papered up. Make sure your documents in order. Especially as a broker, you make them sign a non-disclosure.
yeah.
Make them sign a buyer's agreement or something. Make them sign something.
Yeah, that's true. You want to make sure that everything is papered up, because you can have a verbal agreement, and if you really trust somebody, then a verbal agreement's fine. But if this is your first interaction with them, you don't know who it is, get it papered up.
Cool, man. Let's head back to the office, man. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, it's great. I got something to show you before you take off. I got a new software platform that we've been working on.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Needle, like trying to find the needle in the haystack, and it came because we want to try and identify transactions before they occur, and then allow brokers and investors to go out and get in front of it. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, let's check it out, man.
Here we are.
So what's this new technology you put together, man?
So, in cold calling and all that, one of the challenges I encountered was, people tell me they're not doing anything, and then I'd see a transaction pop where they're either buying or selling something, and it was so frustrating. So there's so much data that is available. I was like, what if we could use data and analytics to predict real estate transactions before they occurred?
Wait a minute, you're trying to predict
That's exactly what we're doing.
before they sell? Like, how are you going to do that?
Well, I mean, we probably underwrite 1,000 deals a year.
Right.
Right. So there are telltale signs that we see on deals.
What's the telltale sign?
Well, changes in rental rates, changes in occupancy. Sometimes owners have a very specific behavior pattern.
Are you like, are you like analyzing when a mortgage note is due or the term? Is that one of the key things?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it, because there has to be something that has to happen. Either you got to pay it off, you got to refinance it or you got to sell it.
Okay.
So, you know, there are things like that that we have keyed in on, and we're using to try and predict the transactions before they occur.
Sweet, man. Well, show us this new thing. Now, you created this software. How long you been working on this, man?
So I had a friend of mine come to me back right before COVID, and he's like, hey man, my partners and I have a background in software and we want to get into buying value-add multifamily. And I was like, you and everybody else, if you have this background in software, what about this? And I pitched him on the idea.
So now you got software that's going to help you track when you believe somebody's going to be ready to sell.
That's right.
All right, let's check it out, man.
So here it is. It's called Needle, as in
Needle, like the needle?
Trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Okay.
Yeah. And so here you've got just the login screen. It gives some headlines. This is a heat map of transactions. This is user information. This is really the meat of the product though. And right here we have every single multifamily property in the United States, 50 units or greater. And we've coded them hot, warm, or cold. And it shows whether or not we think that somebody might be interested in selling. So we've got a section here that says view details. You can see the critical information, you can see the ownership information, you can see the loan here.
Well, I mean, just the loan, I mean, you're sharing the owner and you can figure out who even owns the property.
Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, you call them and you say, hey, Mr. Owner, I see that you've got this Cedar Grove Apartments here. I was curious if you might consider selling. If he says yes, you can move it ahead in the pipeline to interested. And then we have a button here that says see recommended buyers. And we're going to pop up a list of all these prospective buyers that either own similar assets, own in the same market, or own in similar
And so these are not
markets.
even people that you've been selling to. These just, it digs up everybody's been buying in
Yeah,
that area.
there are other market participants. So, and then you move it, you know, this is designed really for brokers first.
Got you.
Our vision is investment sale brokers, loan brokers, asset managers, and acquisition people to be the primary users of it.
That's big, bro.
And you just track it through the pipeline. You can see whether or not they've sent financials or not. If it has a proposal, if it's been listed off market or on market, if it's under agreement, and then if it's closed. So we've just started the beta testing process here with Capstone actually. We've got about 20 users. But you can see people are actively using it and they're getting traction out of it. So we've got high hopes and expectations for it.
Nice, man.
Yeah,
This is huge.
it's awesome.
Yo, man, I'm gonna knock this putting out, bro. You ain't got none of this golfing skill. Do you golf or putt? What do you do, bro?
I can swing a club, but I wouldn't call myself a golfer yet.
Oh yeah, I really hit that one. So look, man, why brokerage? Like, why did you get into brokerage? There's so many different ways to get into real estate. Why would one want to be a broker?
Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like I was generally unemployable otherwise, but you know, brokerage offers freedom. You know, you get to set your own schedule. Like I said before, you know, nobody.
Man, forget that, bro. What the money look like, man?
I mean,
come on, man. Tell me the real deal. Like, you about to give me some soft answers. I want the truth, man.
We make a good living. You know, we make a good living, and we set our own hours, and you know, get to fly to places, have, you know, dinners with clients, and take them on, you know, fun excursions when you close deals, and you know, you get to make some great friendships like this.
That absolutely. Like, now, literally, we met, and then it just so happened we met in Atlanta too. Took our CCIM together.
No idea that either one was going to be there.
Then you end up coaching my kid in lacrosse.
Yeah.
And we see each other all the time. But yeah, like, I started off as a realtor. Yeah, notice I didn't say broker. And I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was just really my way to get back into the game.
Yeah.
Because I had lost everything. And after a few years, I stopped. But I see you kind of taking that same trend, but not stopping with the brokerage. I see now you're starting to invest in deals yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd done more earlier.
get in there, bro.
But hindsight's always 20/20.
Why do you wish you would have did something earlier?
Well, for a couple of reasons. It ties you into the deal, it builds some cash flow, and it builds you in with partners. And I think being able to leverage other skill sets is important. And I maybe wanted to do it all on my own, and I think the older I get, the more I realize that you don't have to do it all on your own.
Man, it's all about a team. With a team together, everyone accumulates money.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about doing it all on your own no more, man.
No,
Because,
no, exactly.
you could sell $1 billion on your own, but it's much easier and probably a little more fun when you got a squad, right?
Oh, definitely. Like, each one of the guys here in our office, they all have different skill sets and different ways of relating to people, and it's awesome. It's great.
So we shared about why brokerage. You did $1 billion. But is the brokerage worth it? Like, yes, this is fulfilling.
Yeah.
But what was your biggest payday, man?
I think the biggest deal that we've done was a 600 unit where we sold it once after the guy had owned it for like a year. And then we sold it again about 18 months later for 20% more than what he bought it for.
Okay, come on. What was the commission, man? What was the commission?
I think it was a $60 million deal and probably a point on that, a 1% fee. So 600,000 or so.
I'll take that. I'll never forget, man, my first $500,000 and $1 million payday, man. Like, I just remember. I still got a picture of the deposit, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Like, that's so amazing. So
we get direct deposits now, so you lose the luster of the check.
Yeah.
But
But look, man, so we talk about all the high life.
Yeah.
But tell me about the struggle, man. Like, how'd you go from A to point B to point C? Because, like, you weren't always doing $1 billion worth of real estate,
No, I mean,
right?
when you and I first met, it was like whatever I could get my hands on. But, I think it's consistency and showing up every day, showing up every single day and grinding every day. Like, I had some basic metrics, 10 conversations a day that I adhered to for years. And if I could...
So how many conversations would you have a day?
10. I shoot for 10 conversations.
And what are you hoping to accomplish in those 10 conversations?
Well, so it has to be 10 meaningful conversations. And so it's like, you want to be calling sellers to see if they're interested in selling, or setting up appointments to go and meet with them to talk about prospective sale opportunities. You also want to be talking with those same people about if they're buyers and what they're buying, what are their acquisition criteria. And then if you're working deals, and you're talking to the same people 2, 3, 4 times a day, well, you only get to count one of those conversations.
Okay.
But having things like that 10 conversations a day, 50 conversations a week, doesn't matter if you make 15 calls or if you make 150 calls. You have to hit that. And if you do that, you can go home with your head held high, right?
And then having those conversations, do you say you want to sell, or are you just really starting to learn about the client, or what?
I mean, at this point, it's all my conversations with prospects, you might say, are kind of continuation of previous conversations, right? Like, you're building a relationship.
So that was what I was about to. So you really establishing a relationship to move to the next level.
Yeah, and you have to build trust. You're not going to get a sale opportunity on the first time you call somebody. I think somebody once told me it was 7 touches you had to get
there you go. I was about
before
to say.
You could even get a meeting, perhaps.
Oh, before a meeting. That ain't even a deal.
Yeah. I mean, it's a grind.
I was hoping you were going to say at least in 7 touches we'll get it.
Sometimes it's seven touches until you get, a shot at it. And then, sometimes you don't get the deal. Maybe it goes to another broker, or it sells off market, and, such is life. But you just got to keep your head up and, pick up the phone again and start making more calls, find that next deal.
What do you think was your toughest deal? Like from beginning in, like acquiring it, then it went sideways, you tried to sell it. Like, what was your terrible deal?
We've had a couple of deals where, you know, crime has been an issue, and, you know, that has killed a sale because there were some issues at the property.
What were they doing? They were selling that yang, they're selling that young?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's less like, I think, the drug dealing, but more like violent crime. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
Like, they was getting down. They was bucking them.
We had a deal over in Indy where I think the appraisal was Thursday, and Friday they found a body in the dumpster. And, you know, the person didn't live there, so, you know, I think we were able to skirt that, but, you know, it's not a fun thing, you know, and we've had...
That killed the sale, I guess.
Yeah, for some reason that deal died, and then I...
Literally.
But I did end up selling it, and then, like, it closed on a Thursday or Friday, and then, like, Friday night, there was, like, a gang fight there. And the sellers were toasting to being rid of it, and the buyers were like, "Oh my God!"
Man, that reminds me, Lincoln Heights, right? You know Lincoln Heights.
Yeah.
That's where I started at.
Yeah.
Because Lincoln Heights, you will say that part of Lincoln Heights is a D class, right?
Yeah.
Maybe F at times. But it's crazy because everybody, if you're from Lincoln Heights, people want to stay near there.
Yeah.
Right? But I'll never forget, somebody got shot or ran over right in front of our house. And then me and Nate and Jim are panicking like, oh my gosh, we'll never rent this house. And then we get a call that same day like, yo, you own this house right here? It was like, yeah. Well, we want to rent it. We was like, do you know what just happened here? Oh, yeah. Man.
I mean, we had another one where we had our call for offers, and then we were in best and final, and somebody, I think there was a shooting there the night before, and somebody died, and we called the buyers, and they actually ended up upping their offer. They're like, we can fix it.
I guess you need to let people die. See, drama sells. I keep telling people, the more drama you got going on, the better the sale, bro.
Yeah, so that was one where the elevators had gone down, and it was just it was a mess, but we got it done.
So, like, what would you share with somebody now trying to get started, whether they want to be a realtor, broker, convert to commercial, like that new person, woman, female, doesn't matter where they're from. What are you telling them if they want to become a broker?
Well, I think, you know, you have to be a sponge in your first years. And even now, it's like I'm still learning new things, you know, almost every day. But, you know, don't approach it like I know everything. You know, make sure that you're a student of the game, so to speak, because that's what it is. And so try and absorb everything, and then, you know, find some people that are going to, you know, help you along, and make sure that you're, you know, heeding their advice. And, you know, nobody's going to do it for you, though. You can't expect somebody else to go out and build a practice for you, unless your dad owns 10,000 units and is always buying and selling deals.
I need a dad that has 10,000 units.
Right.
I just need a dad that got $10. Sorry, I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm sorry. Well, look, man, we got a break, man. It's great seeing you, brother.
Thanks for coming.
I appreciate you, man. Talk to you soon, man.
All right.